Animals live all around us. The streets are their home. Some were born here, others were left behind. But in the rush of daily life, these souls often become invisible. Their daily struggles and sufferings go unseen. When the world looks away, animal shelters and rescuers step in, showing these animals what a kinder world can be.
My name is Sajesh. I'm the founder of Alai. We started this organization in 2017. It's been 7 to 8 years we are running this organization. Story of Alai has to start with the rescue of a dog called as Blackie. Probably the dog was a 15-20-year-old puppy when I rescued it, and his entire back was burnt with acid. That was my initiation to the whole animal welfare, and that dog changed my perspective because at the end of the day, the greatest learning that I had about animals was no matter how much we torture them or how much we put them through a lot of pain and sufferings, a bit of love and bit of care can change their perception towards us. That's probably one learning that we as humans can take from them.
Worst part of the rescues and abandonment came with COVID, where we found ourselves with 32 dogs. That's from December to March, right at the lockdown. That's when we thought we cannot just be a center to foster rescues. We have to be more than that. We have to work actively for trauma cases. Leo is a lockdown bacha. He was given up by his family because they were relocating. And poor luck, he never found a home. He is one of our permanent residents. That's how actually SafeScam Foundation came into picture, where the major part came in COVID, where we ended up rescuing 13 dogs in a week. And all these dogs were either tied up to a pole, left near a lake, left in a forest.
And I started Sarvam in 2016, where I used to rescue dogs by myself and take them to the nearest hospital, get them treated. And after that, I used to find difficulty in finding space where I did not know which animal shelter is there, where they are located, and whether they will be in a position to help, whether they have enough resources. So it was a very difficult and challenging situation. Today we have about close to 150 dogs in the shelter, and many of whom have come with accident cases, maggot wounds, where dogs have been abandoned by the pet parents and people have abused them. So all such kinds of dogs come to our shelter. We treat them, we give them love, we give them the necessary medical care that they require. And once they have recovered, then we try to see whether we can release them back from where they have come from. So if they are in a fit position that they can survive by themselves without any human intervention, then we release such dogs back.
That's Dhasi, by the way. If you see, her legs are bent. She was also an accident case as a puppy. And if you see limbs, she has a wobbly walk. But none of these dogs, being indies and the resilient genes, they don't have any health issues, not even a single one. And the best part about them is mostly all of them are blood donors at my place.
Behind every bark or meow, there is a routine, a structure, and a team making sure each animal is fed, treated, and safe. Let's take a look inside.
We run a shelter with about 730 animals. In this, we have about 650 dogs, and the remaining are large animals like cows, buffaloes, sheep, goats, donkeys, pigs, and ducks. We also have about 24 employees in this shelter to manage the all-round care and medical care for the dogs that we house. If you have noticed on the streets, when you feed an animal, what happens? They instantly trust you. The same thing happens even at a shelter. As in, when they see you, you keep feeding them with some treats. Over the period of time, they tend to trust you.
पहले हम अंदर लाते हैं, उन लोग को पहले फ्रीडम घूमने देते हैं एरिया में, धीरे जाते हैं, उन लोग को पहले खाना देते हैं 1-2 बार, 2-3 बार, 1 बार नहीं खाया, 2 बार नहीं खाया, उनके सामने जाते हैं, ज़्यादातर उनके साथ टाइम स्पेंड करते हैं, उनके साथ बैठे रहते हैं। हाँ, उन लोग को हम लोग को विश्वास हो जाएगा, तो ट्रस्ट हो जाएगा, तो बाद में वो लोग धीरे-धीरे हम लोग के पास आने करते हैं।
Rescue don't begin with tail wags. They begin with fear, injury, and silence.
That's Shippy. She is one of our recent rescues. She has come from a shelter raid all the way from Udupi. She has been at the treatment center of the hospital for the past 3 weeks. Finally, her health is so that she started eating on her own. If you can see, she is a Saluki and a Chippy mix. So that's clearly not how any dog should look like. And she has finally started eating after 2 to 3 weeks. She was so weak, we have given her every possible treatment. We have done all her tests, and finally she is out of the woods. She's come to us now for the further rehab and of course to recuperate and make a better life out of it.
We have all seen an injured dog on the road. Most people pause, then move on, unsure of what to do. So we ask the ones who live this reality every day. What can you do when you see an injured animal, and how can you help even if you are not a rescuer or a shelter?
You can always try to help the dog by securing the dog. You can always try to take the dog to the nearest veterinarian, any veterinarian which is very close by to you, which is how you can get an SOS first aid done for the dog till the time a rescue organization or a proper shelter can be arranged. We completely understand that not everybody can pick up an injured dog. We will always put you in touch with reliable pet transportation and dog catchers who can help you out with this. And it also helps the dog to reach in a proper manner to the nearest hospital so their life can be saved. If you're calling an organization and if they say that there is a certain period of time they need to reach the location, try to be with that dog at that location. So many times it has happened that our vehicle has gone there and the dog has probably went missing, or the dog has probably passed away.
Running a shelter means making hard choices. There are more calls than hands, more mouths than meals.
I think one of the major challenges that any shelter faces in today's everyday routine is probably the space constraint. Because on an average, we get close to 100 odd calls in a day, and we will be able to rescue only 3 to 4 dogs. That would culminate in probably like 100 and 120 odd dogs in a month. And we probably get 2,000 to 2,500 calls in a month. That's a gap of almost 2,300 to 2,350 odd dogs, which we don't know what's happening. So the biggest challenge probably any shelter is facing today is obviously the space issue, and along with that, yes, funds do play a very important role in our day-to-day operations.
The biggest concern there is when it comes to running a shelter is the animal-human conflict. We chose this space specifically because it was an isolated space with very less neighbors. And in the previous places, we have had police complaints against us because we were running a shelter. I was told that you are not supposed to be picking up dogs from the streets and giving them a home because they would bark or howl.
We have grown up hearing things like black cats are bad luck, or even three-legged dogs bring misfortune. But maybe it is time to unlearn what was never true.
One of the major misconceptions that people have about shelters is that we don't look after the dogs well and we kill the dogs. Now, the best way for me to address to anyone who is seeing this video is walk into a shelter and spend time at the shelter. Be a part of their daily routine. Understand what they go through when they run a shelter. For everyone, all you see is that when you give a call to us, we say no. Or you sit in your drawing room and say that we don't look after the animals well, we didn't feed them properly. My humble request to anyone and everyone who has this thoughts about a shelter is walk into any shelter. Not only alike, walk into any shelter, spend some days with them, understand their side of story, what happened when they have to say no to a case. The other way to look at this thing is people who have the money doesn't want to send a dog to a shelter. They take it to a private hospital. Everyone who fails to understand this is the money that you spend in a private hospital, support that same amount to a shelter. They will be able to help the animals in a better way. The amount of money you spend at private hospitals, support any shelter and enable them to become better. Support them to become better.
Most of the cases that we rescue are having fractured legs or broken limbs, or their legs are crushed beyond recovery, where we have to amputate their limbs. So, and when these dogs recover, we are forced to keep these dogs with us, because many a times when we have released these dogs, we get calls back saying that our neighbors are saying that they don't want a 3-legged dog in front of that. And when we started talking to a lot more people around, especially in the villages, everything, we understood that it's considered a bad omen, which is totally a myth. There is no 3-legged dog that can bring any negativity to your house, to your life, nothing at all. An animal is a creation of the same God that you are worshipping.
Where people think shelter dogs are not well, they have some injuries or they have some issues with them. I honestly completely disagree with these people. So this is a pretty big misconception that we have in the society, that shelter dogs are not good. All of the ones who are up for adoption are 100% healthy. The ones who are not up for adoption are 90% healthy, waiting to be 100%. So we have a pipeline process when we get dogs inside the shelter. They have a different background that they are coming from. Some of them are physically abused, some of them have been abandoned, some of them have some mental trauma or something. So after getting all these dogs from multiple different backgrounds, what we do is we put them into a pipeline process, treat them well, get them to their 100%, and then get them adoptable. Being adoptable is the key word. Once they are adoptable, they are 100% secure and good to go. So there is nothing to worry about.
Also, many people who want to adopt, their first preference is a male dog compared to a female dog. When we start asking them the reason for this, they say that no, they would dirty the place. They will have their menstruals and it will make the place dirty. Every dog that is given for adoption is neutered and spayed. That is, their birth control is done so that they do not further reproduce. So the moment we do that, there is no menstrual cycle associated with the female. You will not even realize that it's a male dog or a female dog.
Not all shelter dogs were born on street. Some were once loved. It is not always cruelty. Sometimes it is just convenience.
We have a lot of dogs in our shelter who have been abandoned by the pet owners just because they were not able to take care of small medical bills. They were not able to give time to them. So when they adopt at the first place or when they buy at the first place, they should consider a lot of things, because taking care of an animal is not easy, because they give their entire life for us. They live in the hope that we are there for them. We stand next to them and we will take care of them. But when we as a pet parent give up on them, their whole world crashes. They can't bear the pain of separation from the pet parents, where they have spent a lot of good moments together.
There are a lot of people who come and abandon the dog over here. We get plenty of calls saying that the reasons behind all these abandoning is, one is our children have brought the dogs, but now that the children have got married, the children have moved away for studies, the children have moved out of the house, it is very difficult for parents to take care of these animals. One thing that we must understand is that when we are young, we will have this, we fantasize about or having very exotic breeds, all these. We get pulled towards the playfulness of a puppy, a dog who is very furry, very cute looking, everything. But we must understand, as we move on, we'll have to move out of the houses. Either we get married, we get children, we move out for higher studies. We cannot pass this burden to our parents. Not all parents can manage animals. It is very difficult, especially when you have big breed dogs who grow to a 25-30 kgs and they have to be taken for a walk every day. The first thing parents say is it's impossible for us to take. We don't have a vehicle to take a dog every day. When they fall sick, we have to go to the hospitals. It's very difficult for us. Max we can do is feed them, but that's not a life that they would like to give to the dog. So that's one of the main reasons. Second reason that we see is that people get these breeds when they are puppies. Then when they fall sick, no one wants to spend that time, spend that effort or the money to give them the needed medical treatment.
June is a young retriever. She was tied outside our shelter gate 2 years ago. We took her in. Back then, we did not know about her health issues. We could only see a very friendly dog who was initially so scared. When we found her in a condition, she was absolutely okay. For her to probably be in a family, then abandoned outside a shelter, that's just betrayal for the dog. That's abandonment. He would not know from where they are coming and to where they are going. They would never know why they were left. They would never know what happened to the owners that they had to be left like that. A dog doesn't know answers to these things. These dogs spend weeks decompressing at the shelter, settling in, and even getting friendly with us. June was diagnosed with epilepsy 2 months after her rescue, and her epilepsy has since made her health worse. There have been episodes of cluster seizures. 3 months back, she was admitted at the hospital for more than a month, where she was poked with injections. We tried to make sure she is getting every possible treatment. And this miracle of a girl, she survived. But as a side effect of that, she has lost her mobility. Her nervous system has gotten damaged. She cannot fully see. Her vision is not at 100%. Her orientation is very difficult because the epileptic seizures have damaged her central nervous system.
We should always have in mind that if we really want to adopt a dog, we have to consider our finances, how much we are able to make in a month that we can spend on their food, on their medical care, and whether we'll be able to have a foster home if we want to go out tomorrow. Can we afford all these things?
In general, having a breed preference is not a bad thing. Each of these breeds have been developed differently, so they have different requirements. As for an example, a German Shepherd might need a lot more exercise compared to a Shih Tzu. So if you have a breed preference, it should not just be about the looks, but it should also be about the kind of exercise, the kind of life, the quality of life that you are willing to give to that particular dog. And from a medical standpoint, I would always recommend adopting an Indie.
When we let go of assumptions, we see animals not as burdens, but as companions. Adoption isn't a charity, it is a bond, one that grows with time and space in your heart. Every adoption writes a new chapter of joy, not just for the animal, but for the families who discover that love multiplies when shared.
I had a dog whom we had actually purchased. So at the time, I was ignorant. I did not know about all this. how the mother dogs get impregnated and what all like trauma follows after that. So when my dog passed, that's when I started visiting shelter. And then I realized that, I mean, instead of buying and stuff, it is much better to adopt, because I'm then seeing that how those mother dogs get abandoned. So that's when that small seed of compassion came into me. And then I adopted my first dog from one of the organizations in Bangalore.
My story is that I was always very, very fearful from dogs. But then in 2023, one of our family friends came, and he basically he had a Labrador, a black Labrador, and I just thought like I'll not be worried about it at all, and that's how my fear basically broke playing with the Labrador. That's when Himanshi always wanted to have a dog. So I think this was the impulse that Himanshi needed.
I was following few animal shelter pages, and I knew the harms behind backyard breeding and all. So I was very clear from inception that I would not buy a dog for sure. We had, and before actually committing to adoption, we had fostered 2 dogs to be really sure that we could go ahead with it and introduce dogs into our lives. And we realized also puppy was a lot of work, so we were okay to have a dog which was slightly grown up, maybe 10 months, 12 months, like that. And then we reached out to Sanjana's shelter, SCS, and then we applied for Mizo's adoption. And as time passed by, he is someone who we cannot imagine our lives without.
I wasn't very fond of taking a dog from shelter. So when I first visited CUPA, which is a renowned organization in Bangalore, then I realized that each dog has a personality. Each of them has a story. And when you bring them home, everybody would have their own stories to tell, and you would definitely get along with them in the longer run. So it is just something in our mind, and we ourselves had to make conscious effort to break that. And people should adopt, because the rewarding feeling comes later, when you, after a year, when you look back and you see the same dog getting transformed in such a beautiful way. I think that's the award that you get.
If you want to adopt a dog, then please consider either visiting the nearest shelter or seeing dogs in your lane itself. You will find a lot of dogs who need help. Please think about giving them a second chance. Your world will change.
There are many ways to help a shelter. You can help us by visiting our shelter, where you can volunteer, you can play with the animals, interact with the animals. We don't really have the time to sit and spend with each and every animal. That is what these animals need, because shelter is a little boring life. The other way is you can sponsor meals for all the animals for a day. It will fill their bellies. You can sponsor rice bags for our animals. You can also sponsor surgeries, important surgeries that the dogs that have to go through.
Among the multiple things we need at shelters, one of the major things which comes is the medications for the dogs, which we need on a regular basis for our rescue cases. There are a couple of supplements which come for liver. There comes vaccines for the dogs. There comes anti-tick control and deworming medications for the dogs. These are the medications we need on a regular basis to make sure they are healthy.
Anyone who is watching this video, my only request to anyone and everyone is, you don't want to look after them, absolutely fine, but don't hurt them, don't harm them. Let them be as they are. Let them live a life of their possibility, right? All animals are not given a best of life. All humans are not given a best of life. So if you don't want to look after them, that's 100% fine, but don't harm them. Don't relocate them. Don't hurt them. Let them be what they are doing. Let them be as they are. If you have a right to live, they also have a right to live. One packet of biscuit can change their day. One glass of milk can change their day. One glass of curd can make their day the best of their days. So these are the small thoughts that you as an individual can have, you as an individual can make. And trust me, this small thought can make their day one of the greatest days in their life. So feed them, look after them, and most importantly, don't hurt them.
The greatest journeys begin with the smallest step. एक कदम घर की ओर. One step towards home. Not just theirs, but ours too. Will you take that step?